This term bin is no less than a nightmare for the people who are working on their English fluency. And without this, you cannot even sound fluent. I know this very well, and that's why I've come up with this video today. Let me brief you with the things we are going to do today. The first is understanding bin. Because if you don't know how it originates, from where it originates, then all your structures and concepts will go in vain. So it's very important. And secondly, we will directly start with the 5 most important uses of the word or the term bin, and that will cover all the sentences you may encounter here and there. And if there would be any exceptions, so we will be dealing with that as well. The second thing is you have a surprise, or I have a surprise for you guys, and that is a PDF. Usually I don't add PDFs and all, but this time you'll be having PDFs. The things or anything that I'm going to speak in this video today, whether it will be structures or some sample sentences, or anyway, it's not possible for me to speak or mention many sample sentences, but you know very well that if you're learning any concept in grammar or in English, you need many sample sentences to understand that, or at least 10 to understand that particular concept. So those things you will be getting in the PDF, and by the end of this video you will learn how to use bin correctly in different situations. Hello everybody, this is Tanya, your ESL coach. Welcome back to my channel. The first thing comes in the list is understanding bin. तो आपको बहुत अच्छे से याद रखना है, you need to remember that the term bin is itself the third form of be, B-E-B. Bin is just the another member of the be family. When I say be family, I mean is, am, are, was, were, be itself, then bin and being. So bin is the third form. And when you have something in the form of third form, means the third form of verb, when you have that, you have certain rules associated with that, and that you will get to know throughout this video. The second thing you need to remember about bin or be is simply, it has 2 meanings. First of all, when you say something in Hindi, जैसे हम कहते हैं होना, तो ये होना word जो है, that is for be. And होना हिंदी में एक है, but in English it will give you the sense in 2 forms. For example, if I say you should be there with your mom, we are not learning should, but I'm just trying to make you understand the be concept. So you should be there with your mother. आपको आपकी mother के साथ होना चाहिए. That is talking about the presence of yours, कि वहाँ होना चाहिए आपको, right? Now if I say that you should be polite with your mother, and this is not talking about your presence, this is talking about your personality, ठीक है? You should be polite, आपको polite होना चाहिए आपकी mother के साथ. And in both the cases हिंदी में same meaning है होना. This is, you have to keep in your mind, बिल्कुल याद रखना, you need to memorize it. This is the meaning of. अच्छा, अब now ये meaning कब काम आता है, right? This is also a big question. So be is, or this acts, this word term be, is, am, are, was, were, been and being, अभी सिर्फ अगर bin को ले तो, या be को ले तो, ये main verb और helping verb दोनों की तरह act करता है. The term be acts like a helping verb and as well as a main verb. जब वो main verb की तरह act करता है तो ये होना वाला sense निकलेगा, either in case of presence or in case of personality. जब वो helping verb की तरह act करेगा तो it will only be talking about the tense of the sentence. सिर्फ tense बताता है अगर वो helping verb के form में हो तो, in general. Otherwise, when you will be seeing the sentences, so you will be having confusions, I know that, but at least remember these 2 things. Now, keeping this basic concept of be in our head, we are stepping into the first use of bin, and that is in the form of present perfect tense. It will talk about your past experience, but the tense will be in the form of present perfect tense. When you have any tense, means any perfect tense, or let's say simply present perfect tense, you must remember that all the sentences must be in the form of either has or have plus V3. This is the concept of present perfect, right? Either has or have plus V3. Now V3 will be your bin here. It's fixed, and has and have are acting like a helping verb. Another thing is, as I said, it will talk about your past experience. कैसे? I have been to this place. ठीक है, मैं इस place में गया हूँ या गई हूँ. यहाँ पे been सिर्फ presence की तरह act हो रहा है. But I can tell you the variation of it as well. But listen to me. I have been to this place. I have been to this restaurant. Then questions के form में भी हम बहुत ज़्यादा use करते हैं. Like, have you ever been to Delhi? Have you ever been to Paris? Then we say, I have been to Goa twice. I have never been to Goa. So these are your past experience related to the places only. कि हम उस जगह पे गए हैं या नहीं गए हैं. जस्ट यू फोकस ऑन द स्ट्रक्चर एंड द फ्रेमिंग पार्ट. एंड अबाउट sample sentences, you will already get many sample sentences in the PDF. Right now you just focus that how we are performing the sentences and in which situations we are using it. All right, now the second I'll take here is present perfect continuous form. So continuous tense. So this is also the part of tense, and for that I can brief you that when any sentence is in the form of present perfect continuous, it follows the structure has been either or have been and then ing after that. Now what's the difference? In the previous sentences we were dealing or we were treating been as a main verb. Main verb था तो been का मतलब होना होना के सेंस में निकल रहा था, right? Now been is no longer acting like a main verb but a helping verb. तो ये सिर्फ टेंस बता रहा है और टेंस के फॉर्म में इट्स मेकिंग इट कंटिन्यूस, क्योंकि ये इसे कंटिन्यूस कर दे रहा है, राइट? बी के प्रेजेंस की वजह से, अच्छा शायद मैं एक और बात बताना भूल गई, बी के साथ सिर्फ दो ही चीज़ें ऐड हो सकती है. जब बी हेल्पिंग वर्ब की तरह एक्ट करता है तो इसके साथ सिर्फ दो चीज़ें लग सकती है, या तो ing, ईदर वी कैन ऐड ing और वी कैन ऐड थर्ड फॉर्म ऑफ द वर्ब. थर्ड फॉर्म ऑफ द वर्ब हम पैसिव जब होता है तब लगाते हैं, एंड ing वी यूज़, वर्ब ing वी यूज़ इन नॉर्मल सेंटेंसेज दैट आर योर एक्टिव सेंटेंसेज. ओके, तो यहाँ पे भी हम वही कर रहे हैं, यहाँ पे हम बिन के बाद ing का फॉर्म यूज़ कर रहे हैं, एंड दैट इज अल्टीमेटली योर प्रेजेंट परफेक्ट कंटिन्यूअस टेंस. नाउ द अनदर चैलेंज इज फेस्ड बाय द पीपल व्हाइल यूजिंग दिस टेंस इज using since and for. So okay, I'll brief you that later. First, let me put up one sample sentence here. If I say she has been waiting for me since morning, तो इसका मतलब क्या है कि any action that started in the past and that's still going on in the present. पास्ट में कोई भी एक्शन शुरू हुआ और उसका कनेक्शन हमारा प्रेजेंट से है, प्रेजेंट में वो ऑन गोइंग है. अगर किसी ने मेरा इंतज़ार करना सुबह शुरू किया, विच इज़ द पास्ट, एंड द पर्सन इज स्टिल वेटिंग फॉर मी, सो शी हैज़ बिन वेटिंग फॉर मी सिंस मॉर्निंग. अब मॉर्निंग में मैंने सिंस लगाया, तो लेट मी नाउ ब्रीफ यू कि व्हाट इज़ योर सिंस एंड फॉर. सो सिंस इज़ द फिक्स्ड पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. मैं भी वही रिपीटेड चीज़ बोल रही हूँ, बट आई बी गिविंग एग्जाम्पल्स ऑल्सो. एंड फॉर इज़ द ड्यूरेशन. सिंस इज़ द फिक्स्ड पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, फॉर इज़ द ड्यूरेशन. If I say that I have been working for this company since 2019, 2019 is a fixed period, point of time. Now if I say that I have been working for this company for 3 years, which is the duration between 2019 to 2022, right? The duration है तो for आया, fixed point of time, then we added since. One more thing, if I say that I have been working or I have been doing job since I finished my 12th standard, तो जब मैंने 12th standard finish किया, that was a fixed point of time in the past, right? Now as I said about morning, तो जितने भी phases होते हैं, morning, evening, yesterday not tomorrow, morning, evening, noon, night and yesterday, means all the phases that are related to your past tense. You cannot use tomorrow, that I have been waiting for you tomorrow. अरे कल आया ही नहीं तो क्या wait, right? Third use is passive voice in perfect tenses again. For that, I will have to brief you again what is passive first of all. Just in 3 or 4 lines, I'll try to make it. So as I told you earlier, that with B you can add only 2 things when B is acting like a helping verb. Either ing, verb ing form, or the third form. I said that third form you have to apply when it is in the passive form, and verb ing with other sentences in active form, right? So now the time has come and we have to use the third form here. अब मैं बार बार B बोल रही हूँ, तो you people do not have to be confused here, because B, I'm saying this is the main form, right? B ऐसे start होता है, तो when I'm saying B, हम B family क्यों कहते हैं, right? क्योंकि उसमें सारे आ जा रहे हैं. तो यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हेन आई एम सेइंग बी देन आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट ऑल. बट राइट नाउ एट दिस मोमेंट इन दिस वीडियो वी आर डीलिंग विथ बिन. तो आपको बिन इमेजिन करना है. ठीक है. अच्छा मैं बोल देती हूँ कि बिन प्लस V3 हमें यहाँ पे लगाना है. तो यहाँ पे हम बिन प्लस V3 लगाएंगे क्योंकि ये पैसिव फॉर्म है. फर्स्ट रूल. सेकेंड रूल इज कि जब भी एनी सेंटेंस इज इन द फॉर्म ऑफ पैसिव, सो द फोकस is given to the receiver, not to the doer. For example, application has been approved. Application approve हो गया है. किसने approve किया? We are not even mentioning that because this is not our priority. Our priority is application. कि application के साथ क्या हुआ? So the application has been approved. अब अगर हमें इसमें लगाना है कि किसने अप्रूव किया, तो we will say like this: the application has been approved by the officer. मतलब बाय लगाने की, डुअल लगाने की इज नॉट दैट नीडेड, बट अगर हमें लगाना है तो वी विल यूज इट और वी विल एड इट विथ बाय से लगाएंगे हम. ठीक, इफ इट इज नीडेड. देन आई कैन टेक मोर सेंटेंसेस दैट द केक हैज बीन ईटन. The cake has been eaten. Here I'm saying it's not that relatable. Or let me take another example. Sorry for that. If I say that this package has been delivered. ठीक है. तो the cake example was also fine, but it was sounding little deliberate to me. What happens to you guys when you have to use something in passive? You start making it deliberate. For example, my mother has made this food, or this food has been made by my mother. So it's not needed there to use passive. You don't have to make it deliberate. When you really feel like using it in the form of passive, then only you will use it. So the package has been delivered. पैकेज डिलीवर हो गया. अगेन हमारा ये इंपॉर्टेंस नहीं कि किस डिलीवरी बॉय ने डिलीवर किया. प्रायोरिटी इज टू द पैकेज दैट इट हैज़ बिन डिलीवर्ड. हो चुका है, डिलीवर हो गया है. ओके. सेम वन मोर एग्जाम्पल आई कैन टेक इन केस ऑफ रोड. इन रोड्स ऑल्सो यू हैव डिफरेंट लेबर्स. एंड वेन यू हैव टू से कि ये रोड कंस्ट्रक्ट हो गया है, सो देयर यू डू नॉट रियली पॉइंट आउट द लेबर who has done it. You simply say that the road has been constructed. Third form, right? If you notice, so everywhere I'm using third form after been, and this is the beauty of passive. So the road has been constructed. And one more example that I usually put up in my sessions is the host, or the meeting has been ended by the host. Whenever you are in the Zoom meeting, the meeting has been ended by the host. Then I try to switch it sometimes. That can we say the host has been ended by the meeting? This sounds good to some people, but it shouldn't be like that. You have to be very mindful the receiver you are taking. हर बार हर चीज़ के ऊपर एक्शन नहीं हो सकता. You are not a thing that can be ended. I'm not talking about that dying or living part, but still it's not suitable, you know it, right? If I say that I have been eaten apple, it's not suitable, it's wrong. I have been eaten apple, it's not sounding कि मैंने एप्पल खाया. It sounded like I have been eaten. एप्पल पे हमारा ध्यान ही नहीं जाएगा. I have been eaten, मुझे खा लिया गया. Again, I'm not a thing that can be eaten, right? So you have to be very very mindful the thing that you are making as a receiver. Okay, whether it's suitable there or not, you have to be very very mindful. The fourth use is again passive, but this is in the form of past perfect tense. जैसे हम प्रेजेंट परफेक्ट में देख रहे थे इन द फॉर्म ऑफ पैसिव कि कोई भी चीज़ कर दिया गया, राइट? डिलीवर हो गया एप्लीकेशन अप्रूव कर दिया गया है, हो गया है. बट नाउ दिस टाइम पास्ट परफेक्ट है, जो है वो था बन जाएगा सिंपली कि उनको मार दिया गया था, ये कर दिया गया था, एप्लीकेशन अप्रूव कर दिया गया था. नाउ आई वोंट बी लीविंग यू गाइज इन एनी काइंड ऑफ डिल्यूशन. The thing that I'm going to tell you, or the structure we are going to discuss, or the concept, it can simply be replaced by was plus V3 or got plus V3 also, right? As I said that, there's a difference and I'll let you know. If I say कि application approve कर दिया गया था, तो the right way to say would be application had been approved. जो अभी हमने पहले वाले में किया था, अभी had लगा रहे हैं. Application had been approved. But we can also say that the application was approved. No? The application approved कर दिया गया था. But there is a slight difference in the pressure part, in the emphasis part, कि it had been approved. It is always said that whenever you have to distinguish between a simple sentence and a perfect sentence का मतलब क्या होता है? There would be the presence of has, have or had, and it will be associated with the third form. This is what we call as परफेक्ट टेंस, परफेक्ट बोल रही हूँ सिर्फ, आई एम नॉट रियली पॉइंटिंग आउट प्रेजेंट परफेक्ट और मॉडल वर्ब के साथ परफेक्ट लग रहा है, नो, एनी परफेक्ट टेंस. एंड let me tell you guys that in English almost all the sentences have a simple version and a perfect version as well. So if we say that the application was approved, is fine. There is one more example when you say that he got selected in the interview, he was selected in the interview. So there is a slight difference in feeling, and you will understand it through more and more practice, because I cannot really give you the feeling, especially when I'm recording it. All right, so coming back, उनको मार दिया गया था, दे हैड बिन किल्ड. यहाँ पे भी हम बिन के बाद थर्ड फॉर्म यूज कर रहे हैं, और गया था वाला सेंस आ रहा है यहाँ पे, राइट. देन पैकेज तो डिलीवर कर दिया गया था ऑलरेडी, समथिंग लाइक दैट वी कैन से. सो द पैकेज हैड बिन डिलीवर्ड ऑलरेडी, और द पैकेज हैड ऑलरेडी बिन डिलीवर्ड. Any way you can say. And now the fifth and the last one is the informal use of been. This is quite interesting. Why I let you know? Because it sounds informal, but it sounds classy, and I know that you guys love using this in your sentences, these types of sentences, and this is, I think, most awaiting one. So when I say informal, you must have heard if I say, how have you been this week? How have you been today? How has the day been today? And it's been so long since we met last. So it requires directly the sentences rather than really understanding it like a structure, because as I said, it's the informal way, but the structures will be same. I already clarified. See, if you guys are good at grammar, so you could have understood it at the beginning when I said that been is itself the third form of the verb. It acts like a helping verb and as a main verb. When it acts like a helping verb, after that we can add only two things, either the verb ing form or the third form of the verb. If you guys are good at it, you can understand it very well, because everywhere we will be using the similar things. Been we cannot use alone, we need has or have before or had before. So this is enough of the explanation, but still, okay, let me read. I'm not challenging anybody. Okay, so the first thing I said that how have you been. तो जब हमें कहना होता है कि कैसे रहे हो आप, या आपका ये दिन कैसा रहा है, या फिर आपका वीक कैसा रहा, आपका ये साल कैसा रहा, तो न्यू ईयर इज गोइंग ऑन, वी कैन नाउ आस्क पीपल दैट हाउ हैव यू बिन दिस ईयर, कैसे रहे हो आप इस ईयर, कैसे रहे हो, राइट. इट्स टॉकिंग अबाउट द इंटायर ड्यूरेशन. इंस्टेड ऑफ सेइंग कि हाउ वाज दिस, how was the last year for you, we are saying that how have you been, aap kaise rahe ho throughout, you know, are you getting me, throughout I'm saying. Then how have you been today, okay, then we say that how has the day been, din kaisa raha hai, so usually it's focusing on that. And okay, another one we can say that okay, the answer to this question would be okay, yeah, I've been so great, it's been wonderful for me. Okay, it's been means it has been wonderful for me. Then we say that I have never been to these types of situations. Okay, this is similar to, somehow similar, if I say that have you ever been to this situation, and you know, we say that this subject has always been my favorite, ये subject मेरा हमेशा से favorite रहा है, that रहा है, रही है part आ रहा है, and this is somewhat similar to the concept we did at first. That was the first use of been. We have been so happy together, for example, हम साथ में बहुत खुश रहे हैं, तो we have been so happy together. Alright, now another sentence I had used that it has been so long, और जिसको short में it's भी कह सकते हैं, तो it's been so long since we met last. अब ये बहुत interesting है. What we are doing here, let me tell you. It's been मतलब it has been हमने लगाया, then we added the duration part, मतलब वो जो टाइम हमें लगाना है, कॉमा फिर हम यूज़ करते हैं. देन इन द सेकेंड हाफ मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम वी यूज सिंस अलॉन्ग विद द पास्ट टेंस, मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम सिंपल पास्ट टेंस, बट आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट द एक्सेप्शंस अगेन. सो इट्स बिन सो लॉन्ग हमारा टाइम है, या इसको एक लेट्स गिव इट अ नेम दैट इट्स बिन 3 years सिंस वी मेट लास्ट. देन लेट्स से ऑर्डर प्लेस किए हुए 1 week हो गया है, यू नो, सो इट हैज़ बिन अ वीक सिंस आई प्लेस्ड द ऑर्डर. यहाँ पे लास्ट लगाने की जरूरत नहीं, दैट सिंस वी मेट लास्ट, जब हम आखिरी बार मिले, we're not saying that. Okay, now one more sentence is coming in my head is where have you been? I've been looking for you. Now you should share this video to your friends or anybody who has the fear of been, and I will be waiting for your comments. I would love to answer them if you come up with your doubts. Thank you so much guys for watching this video till the end. Bye, and I'll see you soon.